Joe Duffy.
Talk to Joe on 0818 715 815.
Aubrey McCarthy is involved in the Tiglin Centre, an addiction charity. Aubrey, you would welcome the new legislation, I presume.
Joe, I'm delighted because it's bringing into view exactly what is happening in the gambling industry. I'm not too sure if you remember last year when President Higgins, after COVID, his first event was to visit the Carrigeeden site, which is a housing development in Greystones. Yeah. While he was walking around the centre, he met one guy from Limerick, and they got into a chat. And the president and his entourage, they're meant to move on to the next event. Mm-hmm. But he got talking, and he was talking to this chap for about 20, 25 minutes. And it turned out this guy had lost everything through gambling. Now, alcohol was intertwined as well. Yeah. But it just showed how silently everything was lost. So after a while, President Higgins gave a speech outside, and there was media there. And he spoke about how his heart was broken, about seeing so much damage being done to families and individuals. And it really, really hit a nerve. And he called on the government to stop doing totally minimal and tokenistic invitations to be responsible, but actually to take out the pen.
He was specifically talking about gambling, wasn't he?
He was talking about gambling. And it's interesting because Tiglin deals with addictions from, all sorts of addictions. But he was addressing gambling, and he was saying, when he's looking at sport during COVID, he was absolutely heartbroken to see so much advertising during the sports programs before any hour, before, during the day, during the evening, whatever, and the gambling apps and advertisements during those sports programs.
Well, that will be gone under the new law in the new year.
Yeah, so it goes some way to help people that are struggling with addiction in this area.
And Is the National Lottery gambling, Aubrey?
The National Lottery definitely is gambling. It is a form of gambling. Now, the majority of people are not affected in any serious way, but there are people where addiction is addiction, and spending a ticket, money on a ticket, and then you go back in, you buy another 10 tickets with the winning of that, and you always, the carrot is in front of you, and you're consistently following after that.
Okay. I know the president made other comments that day as well publicly, but I think that those comments you say about his heart was broken, I remember them now, but they didn't get as much attention as other comments about the housing crisis being a disgrace and a disaster. But you're saying the president was quite clear in a public speech that day that he abhorred the whole idea of advertising gambling ads during sports events during the day when.
Joe, the gambling speech that he made was actually the year before. Okay. The housing speech he made this year. Okay. But they were both very, very obvious speeches. And they certainly
corrected, yeah.
But he certainly addressed the gambling issue, and it's a hidden issue. If I got drunk or out of my head in front of you, it's obvious. When I'm gambling, I can be silent in front of my computer at night time or on my phone.
Okay. And then he's going to, the other thing that's going to be outlawed, well, I should say it's coming through the Department of Justice, but the minister who's leading it is the junior minister, James Brown. But they're going to outlaw gambling companies giving VIP treatment and free bets to people and extra.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the changes in the legislation, but I certainly do welcome the advertising restrictions. I do think that will make a difference.
Okay, Aubrey McCarthy, thanks. How's Tiglin doing at the moment?
Tiglin, very busy. We're full up, and we have a lot of housing and a lot of problems with individuals facing addiction, and there's a huge waiting list. But I think that's post-COVID, Joe. There's a lot of issues after COVID.
What, do you think there was a growth in addiction during COVID?
Oh, definitely a growth in addiction, and alcohol has become a major issue. Before it was heavy drugs, now alcohol is a huge issue. And people were confined to their houses and drinking on their own, and it became a very, very dark area.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks indeed. That's sad to hear. Aubrey McCarthy of the Tiglin Centre, thanks indeed. Ruth